I'm Jeffrey Schrier. I'm describing here my newly completed work, Unfinished Flight Number 3. Since 1997, I've assembled 12 massive, site-specific installations using can tabs as the primary sculptural material. Initially, the tabs I used were collected by a middle school in Illinois as part of their study on the Holocaust. The tabs as numerical markers of innocent destroyed lives. In more recent years, I purchased tabs from Ronald McDonald House Charities, who use the funds to support families of severely ill children. I wanted the new installation to emphasize the wide range of resolutions in this series. To envision what my next Wings of Witness unfinished flight structure would look like, in August and September this year, I traveled to Eastern Europe and Sicily to research angel imagery in great European art and architecture. Of the hundreds of angels I viewed in sculpture, frescoes, and mosaics, the mosaics of the archangels in the dome of the Martirana in Palermo were the most compelling inspiration. There was something about the long, thin, winged forms that triggered a vision for me of how I could construct such a form from can tabs in my long studio space. Also, the glittering, reflective quality of the mosaics reminded me of the shimmering aspect of my wing-like structures composed from can tabs. But as art, I was struck most by the stylization of the Martirana angels, the gorgeous, graceful, refined curves of their wings, the concentric parallel curved ribs of shimmering mosaic. I began by making 3-foot wide by 13-foot long sketches of wings based on the mosaic of the Archangel Michael there in Palermo. I then began laying out feather structures onto the drawings that I brought from my studio storage site, a huge tire distribution warehouse in my village. I kept a print of the Martirana angel on my work table as I assembled over the drawings a rough concept with the tab feather structures that eventually would be used in the finished work. As I developed how it would look, I realized I would have to design and build an armature support structure for the feathery elements. At a garage sale, I discovered a pair of sturdy steel garden trellises that were the exact size needed with a butterfly in their center. Although they would not be visible, these Martirana-type wings would have the heart of a butterfly, hearkening back to the earlier project stages. For the armature grid, the foreman at the tire warehouse where I store tons of project materials provided tire storage racks cut to my specifications that are structurally similar to the trellises. The trellises and the grid racks were then bound together with wire and a hot melt fusion process. The feathery elements were removed from the first rough concept on the drawing and transferred onto the symmetrical skeletal grids. As I enlarged the structure, it began to take on a life of its own, owing to the back and forth process of construction required to develop the piece with tight symmetry. But as I prepared to transfer the second stage of the work to the studio floor to develop its final configuration, disturbing things were happening in the world. On October 31st, the crash of a Russian airliner in the Sinai Peninsula destroyed 223 innocent lives. On November 13th, a series of coordinated terrorist attacks occurred in Paris, destroying 130 innocent lives. Tragically, the idea of unfinished flight, the title of this work, as a visual representation of innocent lives carelessly and intentionally destroyed, has become even more timely. I decided to abandon symmetry in the work and begin to think about a more direct interpretation that would overtly and subliminally reference these events. What you see here in silence is the result.